cartoons in Australia, progresses over here to the United States with animation after animation, the Beatles cartoon. We could talk Scooby-Doo. We could talk the Flintstones, on and on with some of the animation he's had his fingertips on. Ron Campbell's with us. Ron, thanks for taking time and joining us today.
It's really my pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me.
Well, let's take us back to the 60s when animation was still relatively new. Talk about your interest in how this whole thing got jump-started.
Well, I think you're referring really to Saturday morning television. Animation itself, of course, was not relatively new at that point. But Saturday morning television was first developing. And I actually started in like 1958. And I was able to walk around the streets of Sydney in Australia pretending I knew how to make cartoon television commercials. And by doing, I learnt. And in doing that, also, I started to attract the attention of American companies that were snooping around looking for production help. And one of them was Al Brodak's of King Features, and I found myself doing Popeye cartoons, Crazy Cat cartoons, Beetle Bailey cartoons. And let this be some advice to all young people everywhere. You do a good job to start with, the chances are you'll be getting another job. And then do a good job again, you'll be getting another job. And that's sort of how life can develop for you.
Connection with the Beatles. Talk about that.
Well, that was the same customer of mine, Al Brodak's. He saw the Beatles at the Ed Sullivan Show and had the temerity to call them and say, hey, I can really do something good for you guys. And that seemed a little extraordinary, but considering how successful they were. But they ended up talking with Al Brodak's, and Al Brodak's talked them into the possibility of doing a television show for children. And who did he go to ask to direct those television shows in Australia? Why, the little kid there that was doing a good job for him. Yeah? So that's my story.
Ron Campbell is with us. He'll be at Akrona Galleries today and tomorrow. We'll talk about more of that coming up with Darlene. A little bit more on the Beatles here. So you did the Saturday morning's Beatles cartoon, but also didn't you do, correct me if I'm wrong here, the Yellow Submarine animated feature as well?
Well, yes, that's on the same chain of events, you know. Guess what? I guess Al Brodak thought I did a good job on the Beatles show. And I came to America, and I was working on the first season of Scooby-Doo, and I get a telephone call from Al Brodak's again. Hey, we've got some problems in London here. We need some extra help. So there's Johnny on the spot again, you know, and I'm now animating on the Yellow Submarine, doing character animation of the Chief Blue Meanie, the Nowhere Man, the sequence where they get older and younger, a lot of the animation before the credits, after the credits, toward the end. Here and there, about 12 minutes, my colleague Dwayne Crowther, who was a brilliant animator, and I animated about 12 minutes. It took us all of 8 months. We had several assistants. Can you imagine that? 8 months to do 12 minutes. That's how it is in animation.
Ron, let me ask you this. We've talked a couple times. You mentioned worked on. For my listeners that might not understand everything that you did with the animation, when you say worked on, were you actually drawing the animation? Talk about your duties there.
Well, on the Yellow Submarine, it was rather simple. I never touched anything more complicated than a pencil. We animated in the studio in London, TVC, would send us a voice track. They would send us what we call layouts and exposure sheets for the timing of the picture. We would do the animation. Our assistants would do all the in-betweens. It's altogether too tedious to do every single drawing. And we would send the pencil drawings back to London, and they would ink and paint it, and they would paint the backgrounds, and they would shoot it, and they would slip the finished scenes into the movie where each scene belonged.
So did the drawings then match up with the audio? The audio matches up with the drawing?
Oh, yes, of course. Oh, yeah. It wouldn't do to have people talking in animation and their voices being 10 seconds behind.
Yeah, I would love to see that. Darlene, talk about how this came together with bringing Ron to Akrona.
Oh, well, I was fortunate to be talking to his producer, and we talked about what I could do and I have a space for it, and I think the Akron will support us too in meeting him and seeing what he's done.
So exactly when Ron comes and he's there today and tomorrow,
Today and tomorrow.
4 to 8 o'clock. People, I urge you to come over and see Ron Campbell, but will they have a chance to meet, greet? How will this all work?
Absolutely. Yeah, we have about 65 pieces of art hanging in the gallery to show all the characters, the things that remind you of your childhood. I was like singing songs as I was hanging them. The tunes, just the Jetsons. You think about all that you watch. So it's been a lot of fun, and I think people will really enjoy seeing what I got to see.
That's today and tomorrow, 4 to 8. Ron Campbell. Ron, there's a lot of. This seems to be an exploding medium now of mechanical drawing, architecture, and getting into that area. I've talked to so many. My son is a senior in high school, so he works with a lot of mechanical drawers who are going to college, and he was telling me that all these kids are going all over the country getting into mechanical drawing. I'm not saying that's part of animation, but talk about, you said you did a good job at the beginning, and look where you are now. Talk about getting into that field.
Really, I can't help anybody in that respect. If I presume what you mean by mechanical drawing is computer-generated drawing, yeah. The thing for me was when I was a young kid, I was watching Tom and Jerry cartoons, and I thought they were real animals. And when my great-grandmother told me they were just drawings, whoa, you mean I can do drawings that can come alive, okay? So that was the obsession I had, drawings that come alive. Now, if I were to have to sit in front of a computer to make computer images come alive, I don't think it would have the same cachet. I would not be interested at all. So I'm absolutely the wrong person to ask how to go about earning a living or enjoying creative juices in front of a computer. For me, it can't be done, but I know that's what the new generation are into. Good luck to them. My day is past. Their day is coming.
It's interesting. My son is really, and he goes out and he takes pictures, and then he goes back home and tries to draw the pictures, being creative, and this is kind of an area that he wants to get into. So he's really into the drawing. Doesn't do animation, but he's really into the drawing. You are an artist, and he's kind of into that. Again, it's Ron Campbell at Akrona Galleries, right beside us, 1765 West Market Street, today and tomorrow, 4 to 8 o'clock, right? They can come on over to the gallery.
That's correct, yes.
All right. Darlene, Ron, thanks for coming on into the studio. I know it's a real busy day for you, so thanks for sparing a few minutes with us here at WAKR.
Thank you.
There you go. Again, it's at Akrona today, 4 to 8 o'clock, today and tomorrow. 18 minutes after 9 o'clock, WAKR.
Do you want to dominate your fantasy league and cash in at the end of the season? Tune in to Paper Champs. Each weekend, Brad Russell and Ben Thomas bring their fantasy knowledge to you, answering lineup questions, trades, who needs to start,